Popcorn therapy. 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 Popcorn therapy.
Welcome to Popcorn Therapy. I'm James Pillion.
I'm Kane Senes.
And this is episode 6, and the therapy is in session.
Boom!
Boom!
Boom, motherfucker!
Woohoo!
You did it.
He did it, man.
You did it. We have an intro.
Yeah. The boy has got a future.
Took us 5 episodes. We got an intro. Therapy's in motherfucking session.
Here we are.
What are we drinking tonight? Here we go.
Tell us about it, King. Tell us
All right.
about
So
it.
I recently returned home from a trip in
Welcome back, soldier.
Los Angeles, and you know, as I'm prone to do, more so in later years, I've appreciated the duty-free walkthrough. I used to always kind of bemoan it and dad when I was a kid and I'm getting pulled along on the trip.
Dad,
Yeah,
come on.
come on. Do we really have to stop here? And he's asking all these questions. And now I'm all about the 2 1-liter bottle specials for $100 or under.
Are you kidding me?
Single malts, which is good. You know, I'm very Larry David-esque. I am George Costanza hunting for a bargain everywhere I go.
Okay, let's just quickly put it on the podcast. You've heard it here first. George Costanza would love duty-free alcohol. That's just, it's just the truth.
Why did they never do an episode on that?
Why didn't they? Did we ever see George flying on an aircraft?
Well, in the season finale when they all think they're going to, spoilers, when they all think they're going to die and the plane's going down. Do you remember that?
I love George, man.
I've got to rewatch that. I'm currently going through with Hannah because she's never watched the show. I know, crazy, but we've been going through from from the pilot.
I feel like you should go to jail. You know, that's the kind of TV show. Yeah. If you're in film and you haven't seen Seinfeld, you should. It's like the do not pass go, do not collect $200. Goes directly to jail. It's Hannah Barlow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
The monopoly of life.
Here's something that's scary, only because I just, me personally, I don't see myself as this person. But are we the same age as they are on the show?
Yeah. So I think they started
or are we
in a couple,
or
a
is
few
it
years.
late 30s?
They're late 30s. So I think
right,
season
so we've got
1,
a few years to go.
I think he was 37.
Helps me breathe easier.
Yeah, but see, that's just comparison anxiety. It shouldn't matter how old they are.
Comparison anxiety.
It shouldn't matter how old they are.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, that's terrible.
I know.
How often do you watch a movie and hear about this new director breaking through? Do you look up IMDb and see what their birth date is?
Oh, of course. I like to say that it's just a professional thing, just to be like, oh, they made this film at this age.
No.
And
what's that got to do with why should that matter at all?
Well,
You know
you're
what I
absolutely
mean?
right.
It's only
and so,
comparison.
yes, I do think a big thing is like, how you made that movie at 35.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I got 4 years,
Just-
and I still haven't made the movie that's even going to get me 3 or 4 places down the road for it. So, yes. Okay. So, yes, there is comparison anxiety at those moments.
This is admitting some, this is admitting some, it's not that pleasant to think, when Damien Chazelle wins the Oscar for Best Director at like 31.
3? Oh, okay.
No,
Was it
he
31?
was like 31.
Oh, God.
Maybe 32.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure. He might have been 33, but I just remember thinking, and it's not so much a jealousy because I really don't think I'm a jealous person. I'd like to know if that's true or not, but I don't think I am.
I think I'd tell you if you were. I don't think that's you.
I don't think I'm really I'm not very materialistic, so I don't really care about what people have. It's more about a sense of accomplishment. It's like comparing myself to frickin' like some fishermen on an isle in Scotland.
Right.
And being like, whoa, well, why aren't I as good a fisherman at this age? Mm-hmm. There was a moment of that, but then I was like, you know what? There was. I'd like to state for the record that there was also a swell of pride that came after it, where I was like, our fucking generation, man.
Well, that's true as well.
That's
so
cool.
It really is. Perspective for me as I get older is a fucking amazing thing to just sit in.
I forgot how we got here, but should we just fucking go back to talking about what whiskey
Okay.
we started with?
Did we start with that?
We started talking about the bottles.
Good God, sir. Good
But
God.
you know what? No, I don't want to pause that whiskey for a second. I don't want it to sound like we're
Wait there.
I don't want it to sound like we're going down some kind of negative pothole. But that feeling is definitely not, that comparison anxiety thing is definitely, it's a really ugly self-destructive thought.
It is, but I think it's important to note that we do it every day.
Yeah.
We look at another couple, I've done this before. I look at them and I'm like, and not in a jealous way, sometimes just really reflective, really honest, and saying, are they doing more than me? Like they look at their energy between each other. I don't know. I feel like I could be more like this, or whatever it is that's going on in your head with that reflective comparison. I think that is something that we all do, and I think it's the more we're just aware of it, the easier it can be to pull it back and just to add that sense of objectivity to it. I think it's so important that if you have the feeling to reach out to anyone, to a friend, even just to a stranger, if we have a feeling of positivity towards them, why not celebrate that? Let them know you like their dress, or you think they're interesting, or you love what they've been doing with whatever choice it is in their life that makes you feel like that's cool, that's a contribution, or that's just, it excites you. Because I think the more we could just say, Damien Chazelle, you're a bad boy, and also I love the kind of stories you're making and telling, the more I think we're all going to be better. It's going to make us better. Don't you think?
It's got nothing to do with him. He is a fucking bad boy.
No.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
And I love First Man. And
we'd love to have you on the podcast, Damien.
Dude, I mean, just, it was laughable how everyone was like, ooh, he made La La Land, and then there was this misstep and he made First Man, but he'll recover. And it's like, fuck you. First Man is twice the movie that La La Land is.
It is
incredible. It is twice the movie that La La Land is.
It's twice the movie.
It's so
yes,
much.
I'm getting behind you on that one.
It's so much more accomplished and nuanced.
Okay.
So anyway, long story short,
here we go, guys.
We're fucking drinking a Bowmore. Established 1779. It's an Islay. Islay? No, I think you're supposed to say
Islay?
Islay.
Islay. Let's go with Islay.
Well, I always remember
it's Scottish though. So Islay?
I just remember
Islay?
the Islay single malt Scotch whiskey.
What are you doing there?
Aged 10 years. Dark and intense. No, see, that's Irish. Aged 10 years. Bowmore. Established 1779. Islay single malt Scotch whiskey. Dark and intense. Intense depth from the marriage of Spanish oak, sherry casks, and hogsheads. Bowmore. For a stylish drip of whiskey.
Oh, shit!
Cheers!
All right, let's top us up. Top us up.
Yeah, we
that was very fucking. We gotta toast that, Kane. That was fucking great. I went somewhere. I don't even know where. I was like, I feel like I was in Outlander or something. I was like, oh shit.
You went to the.
Here we go.
The Bowmore distillery in Islay, Scotland. It's just called Islay.
Islay.
Come on, Islay, won't you make me whiskey?
Da-da-da.
Da-da-da.
All right, here we go, guys.
Cheers
to you for listening to that dribble.
It's quite a kind of it's a caramelly taste, isn't it?
I, for one, am a big fan of Bowmore. Anyway, I wanted to see how you've been, because we haven't seen each other in about 3 weeks, maybe more.
It's been a few weeks. How have you been? Like, what's been going on? You got back from Byron?
Yeah, well, I just last weekend, my lady and we got away with some friends to Byron, had a great time. And while we were up there, okay, we're at the Mullumbimby markets. Okay, for anyone that hasn't been there, let me paint the scene. Okay, it's some beautiful looking people, some real beautiful looking people, actually. Everyone's got like a beautiful personality, open, kind, loving. If anyone's listening overseas, one, how'd you find us? Okay, that's pretty exciting. But two, come to Mullumbimby, okay? and then tell them James sent you because they're definitely not going to know who I am.
You sound like Kramer talking about the melons. He's like, Jerry, you got to try these melons.
You got to try the cantaloupe, Jerry. You got to try the cantaloupe.
It's a phenomenal cantaloupe. It's phenomenal.
Taste this, Jerry.
Taste it, Jerry. Taste it. Taste the cantaloupe.
Anyway,
Taste it.
so we're at the Mullumbimby markets, and who do we lay our eyes on but Russell Brand? Okay? Firstly, my girlfriend Billy, she's like, look at that guy. Looks like Russell Brand. And I was like, that's because it is. Oh my God, that's Russell fucking Brand.
Yeah.
So what do? I'm the last person that's going to go up to someone, especially in this kind of place, but something told me to do it.
Yeah.
I followed that weird little instinct, and I went up, and I bumbled my way through an introduction.
Shit.
Oh, hey, Mr. Russell, I'm so sorry. And he's like, what's your name? He shook my hand.
Ooh,
I was there with my boy, Daniel Simmons. He's a big fan of the podcast, by the way. So shout out, you son of a bitch.
Thanks, Daniel.
And shook our hands, really warm, really loving. Then he asked us, where are you guys from? We're like, oh, yeah, we're from Sydney. He's like, oh, I'm coming down there for a show.
Is he?
This is last week, so he was already here. Okay, he goes, "Do you want to come?" Gave us the email. We show up Tuesday night this week, State Theatre in Sydney CBD. We got incredible seats, man.
When was it?
This was on Tuesday, Wednesday
I've
night.
been looking him up, and he was saying he's not coming to Sydney.
Oh God!
I really wanted to go to
Oh,
this.
sorry. I should have told you. I'm sorry.
You didn't know.
No, I had no idea.
I follow his YouTube shit is great.
Oh my God!
When was he coming? Because he was doing like Newcastle.
Yes,
and
then so he went down the coast. So he went from Brisbane, Newcastle. Yeah, dude.
Oh God damn it! And he's gone.
He's gone, man.
Oh,
that's the end of Russ. Yeah, but so just a quick little wrap up about the show, especially now that Kane wanted to go. So essentially, it was a mix of comedy and self-help.
Yes.
It was a really interesting whole thing. The show is called Recovery Live, and he goes through the 12-step program of Alcoholics Anonymous and makes it funny, makes it relatable, helps you understand just how much we all of us out there, and I'm talking to you, all have our own addictions. Why I thought it was just really profound to me right now, and with the podcast, what we've been talking about, but the power of serendipity. I wasn't expecting that with Russell Brand, but that's what I got, and I think it also helped to remind me of leaning into love, man, where you can.
What was Russell Brand? What was in his shopping bag from the Mullumbimby markets?
Russell, what's in the bag?
What's in the bag? What's in the bag?
What's in the bag? Ah, come on. I love that, man. Dude, that's...
What's in the bag? What's in the bag?
All right, hold on, guys.
Who's got the best one?
Guys, we're back on the BP train. Here we are. We're back.
BP.
Dude, BP.
BP Corner. BP Hour.
BP Corner.
BP Corner.
The BP Hour. No, the BP Corner.
It's the BP Corner.
Because we're just having a little side sesh.
Sidebar to the BP Corner.
Just to be like, Brad Pitt.
It's been too long.
You are the boy, Brad Pitt. Okay, sorry. Man, I've had a bit of like withdrawal symptoms. I've been like, where's my boy? And what's he doing right now?
Blue, where's my boy? You're my boy, Blue.
You're
Where
my boy,
are you, Blue?
You're my boy. No, man. And so, yeah, we haven't seen each other. Kane's been to the City of Angels. Yeah. He's back. He is dressed in black.
I'm dressed in black. I'm dressed at the old alma mater.
The old alma mater. Like in New York Film Academy.
New York Film Academy.
Shout out.
Yes. I had a great time, and they were very lucky, at least in my time there. I don't know if a couple years later if you had the same teachers, but I mean, Adam Nimoy was my directing teacher, the son of Leonard Nimoy, Spock.
Son of Spock.
A very accomplished TV director, did, Ally McBeal, NYPD Blue, The Practice, all that stuff. Taught me everything I know. Great teacher. I caught up with him recently in LA, and with my cinematography teacher, Nick.
You caught up with Nick.
And
Nick Silvercameron. I love, man. Man, he's a bad boy. Shout out, Nick.
Dude, he's probably listening to this right now.
We hope you are.
Nick,
I miss you, man.
Dude, great memories of that man.
Nick, can I just say, if you are listening to this, you were the best goddamn teacher in that place.
See, that's what I'm saying. I think we got lucky, man.
Yeah. And
lucky.
you know why? Like, you pushed us. You pushed me. You scared me.
Yeah.
And I really thank you for scaring the shit out of me.
He's just a very genuine guy.
Yes.
And
your love of M. Night Shyamalan.
Oh.
I still remember those classes, watching not Unbroken, Unbreakable.
I love that movie.
Unbreakable.
That's one of my movies of that decade. I heard Bruce doesn't suffer fools lightly.
Oh, shit.
Well, Kevin Smith has talked about him being the worst experience of his life. Like, he was having a mental breakdown just working with Bruce, because every time he'd come to, I think it was...
oh, yeah, what was the movie they did?
Cop Out with Bruce Willis and Tracy
2010.
Morgan.
Yeah, that's right.
And he just hated Kevin Smith.
Oh,
but
no.
Wes Anderson, when he worked with him, I think the first one,
Moonrise.
He kind of sat him down and was like, "Look, Bruce, like, we don't do trailers and stuff on this set, so before you come on board, is that okay?" And Bruce was like, "I don't need a I want to, however you guys do it, however you do it on your set, Wes, I'm down." And he was first one on set, last one to leave.
Oh, he was a
complete sweetheart. So Wes like swears by him, and
but then Wes has that amazing story with my hero, Gene Hackman. Gene obviously was one, like, getting older, maybe really anxious, insecure about that, and then two, just not responding well to Wes, his direction, because this was
on the Royal Tenenbaums.
The Royal Tenenbaums, like early 2000s, like an amazing film, man.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
And there's this amazing scene that Wes, man, you got to shout out to Wes, man. He kills this because he actually puts it in the movie, but Gene grabbed him, threw him into like a tiny little closet, closed the door, and started screaming at him, just being like, "What kind of ramshackle fucking production is this? I'm a fucking actor and you're a piece of little shit." And, like, just going off, calling him the C word, like, "You cunt, like, you fuck you." And
he's saying it to Wes.
To Wes.
Yeah, like, Wes is there in his 3-piece suit with his fob watch, being like, "Gee,
he's
please,
got like a little,
man, Gee, we're all friends here."
Yeah, please. But I love Gene in that movie, man.
I know, he's so
he
cantankerous.
Is so amazing.
Yeah. But actors do this thing. Even when they say they're not method, they get into a character and they get into walking that character's shoes, and the character called for him being an arsehole. He's probably just a bit of an arsehole. I'd be curious to know if other people that have worked with Gene say the same thing, because this Bruce Willis thing, it's weird. And so apparently on Rian Johnson's film Looper.
Yep. What was he like then?
Loved Rian Johnson. And so Rian Johnson was on Smodcast, and there's this great episode where they talk about Bruce.
Dude, I would love to.
You've got to listen to this.
Oh my God.
And Kevin Smith is just sitting there and he's listening to him say he's listening to Rian Johnson say all these amazing things about Bruce, and he just goes, "Ryan, man, like, I just don't get it, man." He's like, "Is there something wrong with me?" And Ryan's like, "You're great, man. Everyone loves you." And he's like, "Why did this guy hate me?" He was like, "I tried so hard to he was my idol. He was my favorite movie star. Like, I thought he met his hero." And that classic thing, "Don't meet your heroes," happened to Kevin Smith.
Essentially, for me and for most directors I've read about, most people do not want you to make the movie that's in your head. Especially when you're younger and you're untested. It's just really interesting to hear these stories about, the Kevin Smith one with Cop Out with Bruce Willis, because it happened to me on my movie, my movie star actress. At least she is in Romania. But she tore me apart, and I've forgiven her. If anything, I'm grateful to her for just being true to herself.
Yeah. And
just helping me clarify exactly what the fuck I wanted.
But she's going, you're a fucking first-time director. I'm famous in this country.
And
you're in my home turf, basically.
And also something that has really hit me the longer I've been in this business, the longer I care about stories, watch them, read them, is they're portraying a truth on screen, whatever it is. And it could be a $200 million movie. It could be a $200,000 movie, but they're portraying a truth.
It's really hard what they do.
It's really hard. And I think it's so important to remember that when we criticize actors.
But
it's like a cake. All the ingredients matter to making a really good cake. And an actor can save a bad script only so far. And I think it's really great to have people that fight you because, in my opinion, they care.
So I had a similar thing when I did my first film, and I don't want to obviously name actors or whatever because the guy's a great guy and I love him. But I remember because we were shooting on 35mm film, right? And we were a low budget film and we were trying to conserve our film stock. But someone came to me and was like, "Hey, just so you know, we're a little low on film stock. So whatever we shoot today, just keep that in mind." And I had this actor, and it was a night shoot, and we were almost a week into a night shoot, and so we were all a little kind of like fuzzy-eyed.
You really go a bit bleary.
You go a little crazy. So James Badge Dale's in the film. He's not who I'm talking about, but James Badge Dale had shot The Pacific. In Australia,
one of my favorites, by the way.
And they had like
great series. Sorry,
they had something like a month or 2 months straight of night shoots, and he was like, dude, he was like, people started losing their minds.
Oh my god,
he was like, it was a little weird.
Sorry, let me just interject here
because I know
I went up to James Badge Dale on the set because I did a week on Kane's film.
That's right.
You
came out.
Yeah, Relative Stranger, which Echoes of War.
That's right.
Kane's first movie. So I came out to Austin. I mean, I had a wonderful time.
Dude, that's sick. I forgot about that.
Dude, how cool.
Because we didn't even really
know each other that well. No. This is like the most beautiful part. Man, I had an amazing time. And
I remember wanting to hang with you more, and I'd be like, "Where'd you go today?" And you were like, "Oh, I checked out this spot in Austin and this thing." And I was just like, "I'm sorry, I can't hang with you."
Dude, you were fucking
I know, but
deep.
it was,
you were like,
I know.
I was like, man, it was exciting to watch you,
cool.
but also like really draining because I was like, Kane's gone through a lot. Like, I got to get out of here. Like, this is freaking me out,
So we're conserving film, right?
Yep.
It's late at night. We're shooting this scene where actors they come storming out of the house and they find something that's been left there in their yard and it's lit like it's moonlight, and so it's a scary scene. He's like worried about his kids, whatever. So I'm just going roll, and it was kind of like a rookie error, but I'm going roll camera, and then I'm basically saying action right away because I don't want to wait 10 seconds to settle the scene because I can hear the money burning through.
Yeah. Of course you can.
So I'm going roll camera, rolling, and action. After a few of those, dude comes out and he's like, and he's mad because the scene caused. The scene caused, like he's doing kind of push-ups in the room before. The scene causes for him to be pissed.
Big scene, yeah.
But he obviously just needed somewhere to bounce that, and he's just like, "Hey, you don't fucking do it like that. That's not professional.
Oh shit.
You don't say fucking roll camera in action.
Oh,
that's fucking amateur.
Oh shit.
I'm an actors you need to give us time, man. This is tough shit we're doing."
Oh shit.
And I was like, and like the whole crew's looking at me, and I'm just going, I'm sorry, no problem. Let's do that again. And I'm like embarrassed.
Yeah, dude, that's hard. I've had that. Yeah. It's awful.
And everyone was a bit like awkward. But there was this thing simmering in me. I was pissed. I was mad. So I just went roll, and we rolled, and I just stood there and blew through like a minute of film, just not calling anything. And then I was like, action. And it was really petulant. But, okay, going back to your question.
Just before we were rolling, you were telling me about how you and Hannah had gone to see The Invisible Man.
You'd be very smart to go see this film in the cinema and not wait.
Okay, good.
It is the best horror film I've seen in years.
Wow.
And it's hard to make a really good horror, and I'm talking like genuinely scared, elegantly executed, sophisticated, smart, shot beautifully. It's very artistic, and yet it scares the shit out of you. It's got jump scares that are really earned that you don't see coming.
No, it sounds like
really
exactly
tense.
what I need to
It's
see.
nail biting, and it tackles a really dark, issue that is domestic abuse, and having essentially a violent man who you were in a relationship with and you tried to leave and you ran away, and he took that personally and he started stalking you to fuck with you. And this guy can go invisible. And you don't know why, and I'm not going to talk about why, but it's obviously based on the famous Universal Pictures monster horror.
It's not a remake, is it?
Well, it's not actually. It's not actually.
Title.
It's based on it's based on an old book, a series of books. I don't know who created the Invisible Man.
Because anyone that was born
was
in
it
the
H.P.
late
Lovecraft?
Anyone born in the late '80s, the early 2000s, there was a movie called The Invisible Man. I remember watching it.
Yeah,
and I just loved it just for the idea of wow. Like imagine being invisible. I think it goes pretty dark.
But was he wrapped in the bandages with the glasses and the trench coat? Was he that classic character?
It was, and then he takes it off.
Yeah, when he wants to go invisible. So he's part of like Alan Moore, the great comic book writer.
Is it really?
Of
is that
Watchmen.
where it comes from?
No, it doesn't come from him. But he did a classic series called The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, which turned into a Sean Connery film.
I've seen that movie. That's fucking wild movie.
It's a terrible movie,
but kind of
great.
But
it's a great comic book.
I mean,
but read the comic book. Okay. Like the Invisible Man gets raped by Mr. Hyde, like by Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Like he gets raped. Like Hyde in his animal state, his werewolf type state, captures this invisible guy who's trying to get away, and he rapes him. It's a really hard hitting comic book. So the movie is sugar coated to shit. Right?
I see exactly what you're saying. Yes,
closer to like a Marvel film today.
That's what it feels like, actually.
But the comic book is more like Logan. It's fucked up. It's dark, right? But anyway. So, and do you remember the Kevin Bacon film, The Hollow Man?
Yes, I remember.
That was a take on the Invisible Man too.
You know what? That's what I'm thinking about.
That's scarier. When he's psychotic.
Invisible Man, and then Hollow Man was another one. Maybe it was Hollow Man.
With Hollow Man, it's kind of like a slasher film. He's like killing people, and he's psycho.
Oh, no, that's what I'm thinking of. Oh, God.
So it's closer to that. It's more like Hollow Man.
Oh, Hollow Man.
But by casting the female victim in the lead, and who is Elizabeth Moss, and she's a fantastic actor, and she should win the Oscar for this role. She really should, and it won't because it's this low budget
too much of a
Blumhouse genre film.
Sadly.
But it's about time that we started just...
Yes.
But in the wake of Parasite, I mean, Parasite's a genre film.
Well, that could be exciting.
But that's by a serious filmmaker. That's the difference.
There you go, man. It's a real package in Hollywood. Real package. Now, you were saying that the film was made with offsets. Which Australian offsets, guys. So
because it's Leigh Whannell, who's the Aussie writer-director. It's his second film after Upgrade, but he was the writer of Saw, which was directed by James Wan, and he wrote the Insidious films.
Another Australian director, for those that don't know.
He's gone off to do Aquaman. And
that was his last big. It was his last movie.
Yeah. But they started out in horror. But they started out in this low budget horror world. Mm-hmm. And when Leigh started to direct, he did a sci-fi called Upgrade, which is great. It's a sci-fi action film, and it knows what it is. It's kind of like a John Wick type thing. And it's great. It's a lot of fun. It's great filmmaking. Mm-hmm. Like the dude knows when to put the accelerator down, when to ease up. He knows how to give you a character that you care about and a clear objective that they're trying to get to. He knows how to create cool bad guys that have kind of it's Tarantino-esque. There's a passion and a deep love of like 80s and 90s movies in his films. So he makes that. He does that version of an action film in Upgrade, and it's badass and it's cool. And then he's like, okay, I'm going to make another sci-fi, because he started to love the sci-fi world, and he came up through horror. And then Blumhouse brought him in and were like, look, we want a radical new take on the Invisible Man. And he was like, I'm not really looking to do the horror thing anymore, but okay, cool. Went home that night, couldn't stop thinking about the movie in his head. And his whole pitch was like, the Invisible Man has become far too visible. Like, let's have him genuinely be invisible, and let's set it from the perspective of one of his victims, and not have him be the lead. You know what I mean? And it's really a film about gaslighting. It's really a film about how men gaslight women.
Oh no!
But it's in this case, it's to like a psychotic level. But it got me kind of thinking, and it almost, well, it's like when you're a genre filmmaker, right?
Yeah.
Or really any kind of filmmaker, you might be making something that's a metaphor for something. That often happens in like the horror genre, because it's not just about the scares, it's about a dark metaphor for something that's very real to everyday life. And in this sense, it felt like it might have been something to do with like an ex-relationship and what he might have learnt from it, or maybe his
a
current
confessional
one.
kind
It felt
of
confessional.
reflection potentially on his past relationships.
It felt like him as a guy saying, guys, we need to stop thinking when women say there's an invisible man stalking them that they're not just crazy, and that maybe like we need to listen to them, and we don't listen to women enough. And when they say I'm being domestically abused, we all make excuses for it.
Yeah.
So it operates on that level, because no one believes her in the film, and it's a spiral into insanity, and it's really like disturbing, but it's very real. And you start going, if this is dialed up to 12, like at number 1 or 2 is probably my life.
Yep.
And just those things that you do in a relationship, like where I'll get into an argument with Hannah, and it started because I'm projecting something because I'm having a bad day.
Sure.
And I'm insecure about something, and I'm coming home, and I'm basically unloading that on her. And then she snaps back, being like, "Don't fucking treat me like that way." And then I'm going, "Whoa! I was just commenting on it. I wasn't trying to fight."
Yep.
And she's like, "That's gaslighting, because you fired me up, and now you've turned the gas down, and tried to clank." And that's what goes on in this film.
Oh shit!
But with a psychopath.
Right. I see.
But it got me thinking about myself, and it was uncomfortable, and I was like, I got to get better. And I think how cool for a little genre film that's from the perspective of a woman to make guys feel that way. That's changing the world through little horror flicks.
That's beautiful, man, because that's the therapy in the popcorn universe that we've been talking about since we started the podcast, and that really gets to me. When I get really passionate, really heated about a topic, I can raise my voice. And sometimes it can come across as threatening if I'm upset at a topic. Mm-hmm. And I can, there's definitely been times where my partner, Billy, she will kind of stop me and be like, just lower your voice, And me being, just this ridiculous creative personality, I'm like, don't tell me to slow down, don't tell me to shut up.
Yeah.
I've got something to say.
Yeah.
This is really important. And then 10 minutes later, I'm like, God, that was really embarrassing.
It was really unimportant.
What was I talking about? And so yes, that is a big thing for me, and I think it's great that there's movies coming out from an Australian male who's doing the work.
Yep.
Come on, let's be honest. He's doing the work.
He's doing some kind of work on himself by
Leigh,
writing that.
We're not trying to implicate you here. It's just more like it's a beautiful thing that regardless of whether or not it's your truth on the screen.
Or a story you heard of a friend or something.
Exactly.
But he's writing truth.
But you're writing
He's
truth.
writing truth.
And I believe that, the reason it also hits you, this comes from a place of love as a man, but that it was true to him in some capacity, because the way he obviously wrote it, I'm excited to watch it, but it's full of truth, so that not only are you scared of the physical antics on your screen, but the kind of deeper, the emotional antics of what compelled this action right now on screen. This is insane.
And also, why do you care? You care so much because it's something that we hear about in the news. It's something that we all fear deep down. We're like, am I like this guy? You know what I mean? It's kind of like I said when Hannah watched Ingrid Goes West, and it's about and it's about a social media addict. Now, obviously, it's dialed up to 10, but she's suddenly going, oh fuck, this makes me feel like an idiot for every time I post on Instagram, and the whole comparison anxiety thing.
Sure.
But that's what makes good films is not. You got to be exploring something in a movie.
Yes.
You can't just be fucking Now, I've got a buddy who's a great screenwriter, and he's about to make his first film, and he just really believes in entertaining.
Okay.
He's just like, man, just entertain the audience.
Yep.
I don't think about theme. I'm telling a good story, and I'm trying to do the best job that I can, but it's really just a good story.
Wow.
And we were talking about like the Die Hard thing, about how John McTiernan was like, you know what Die Hard really is? There's all these metaphors about like globalization versus nationalism and fucking like the invade because they're these European terrorists that are breaking into a Japanese building on American soil, and all they're reading all these things into it. And he's like, it was really just about this couple that were going to this party and they had a fight, and their relationship is falling apart, and they're not putting in the work. And you're seeing them at their lowest, and they go to this party and they get separated, and he almost loses her. And the whole film is like he has to go through this night of hell to get her back, to realize I got to hold on to this thing I have. And the film ends like it starts with them I think on the way to the party, and they're arguing.
Yep.
And then it ends with him basically like hugging her as like the fucking ash is raining down. He's like, I love you. Like, and so it's really quite simple. And then it's just a great thrill ride of an action film in the middle.
Just taking it back to one of our episodes, you know, the Kobe Bryant one, you know, rest in peace, Kobe, but you don't know what you got until it's gone.
Yeah.
And him being like, I could lose her tonight.
Yeah.
And I do think that is such a powerful metaphor. And I actually, this brings me back to something I just wanted to say before, was the best movie. You know, think about, whoever's listening out there, think about one of your favorite fucking movies. One of your favorites, okay? A rewatchable. Mm-hmm. That film, most definitely, is rooted in the deepest human truth. Even if it's a big budget, you know, shoot 'em up, there is something underlying it.
Well, the good ones.
You know,
you can tell that they were going for something, they might have failed, but you can usually at least tell if they were going for something.
Very much. Like, but I'm saying if it's a favorite of yours, there has to be something.
That's
as in, like,
you back.
And sadly, like, even, you know, the ones that make hundreds and hundreds of millions that we don't understand, like, how did that make so much money? There is something underlying that, because that's the only reason we go to the movies. We can dress it up and all of this beautiful stuff, but that's the underlying truth. If you don't tell an interesting story about something within us, you're not going to bring anyone to tears or to rewatch it or tell their friends.
That's the filmmaker's job, right? That's ultimately the director's job. Even if you're not the writer of the script, you've got to know that you're trying to say something through the film. And often these films are like Trojan horses, you know. There's a message that's buried deep in them. But that's this kind of film I'm really interested in right now. I'm really interested in like what Blumhouse is doing. It's hit and miss, but when they hit, they really hit. And it's this idea of like that, you know, 5 mil, 10 mil, maybe tops, kind of small budget genre film.
Yeah.
That's like a thrill ride. That's like a character point of view story. And they're simple, but they say something. They say something about the world at large. And I think if you look back to even the films of like the 70s, when that was happening a lot more, when you would have a cop film like Serpico or The French Connection, they were actually like, they were these metaphors of something else, right? Like they were paranoid films because of what was going on.
A reflection of the times.
Yeah, the Cold War, or whether it be Vietnam or whatever. They were a reflection of the times. And now I think what we're getting is we're seeing these films that are a reflection of the times that we're living in, and we're living in like a society that's, you know, greatly changing. And it feels like we're at this kind of this shift in history, right?
Real crossroads.
Yeah. And I've been reading a lot about like the 60s and years like
Me too.
Like, dude, have you read about how wild 1968 was? It was just an insane year.
Yeah.
I think that's when MLK was shot.
That's right.
And
that's right. And the Vietnam War, the Tet Offensive, like it was
there was
like
a lot of crazy shit going
on.
So
things were really going bad overseas. You know, I mean, I know we're thinking about America.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny that we're thinking about America?
We always relate to America.
Because that's exactly where my mind goes to 1968. There was riots in Paris in 1968, but that's not where my mind goes.
Well, because we're making the point of, you know, largely the films that we're talking about are American films, but I'm making the point of the American genre film is reflective of that time.
Yes.
Or of the time in which they're made.
You're absolutely right. Yes.
But then you've got Kim Jong-un.
Who?
You've got Kim Jong.
You're back to the present. Sorry, man. I got really loaded. Then I was like, what? See?
Oh, shit. No, I'm so racist. Okay. Erase all that shit.
Cut it all out. I'm going to keep that. I'm just so racist. Put it in nowhere. Just like, where would that come from?
The show starts. It's like, I'm so racist. I'm so racist. Oh, fuck.
Get a jingle done.
I wish we could include this.
Oh, jeez.
My point was just then you got like what Kim Jong-un is doing with Parasite, right? That is just a genre film.
Wait, no, Bong, not Kim.
Oh,
He said Dong. Dude, we're flying, man. We're first class up here.
Then you got what Bong Joon-ho's done, like with Parasite, right? Where it's a genre film, but he admits he's like I grew up on like he's looked as this international filmmaker, right?
Yeah.
But he's not actually making Korean movies. He grew up with American genre films, and that's what he talks about a lot. He's like, I grew up with American films, and so those are what influenced me most.
I fucking love that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's an American style filmmaker.
Okay,
so I
that's
think it's
pretty
okay
badass.
to be into that shit, man.
Of course,
to say that you're from the era of Die Hard and Back to the Future and fucking Jurassic Park and Terminator and I love that space in movie history. Like
me too.
just films that entertain, that didn't take themselves seriously.
And I hope you guys know by now, we're not hiding in history because we think the present is awful. You know, Kane, of course, just gave it an amazing review to The Invisible Man, which just came out in theaters. So, we just find a lot of comfort.
Yeah.
But then this bigger idea of it speaks to me. Like there is something here that just makes me feel elevated, and it reminds me of this Simon Pegg. Okay, Simon Pegg, the amazing English actor who is most famous from the Mission Impossible movies. No,
Shaun of the Dead, dude.
Well, no, yes, of course, but
the Cornetto trilogy.
Oh, dude, him and Edgar Wright, they are a match made in heaven, man. They are incredible. I was just using that as most people.
Yeah, the mainstream.
Oh, I guess. Okay, you know what? Yeah. I am talking to you, America. It's what most Americans know him from. But anyone that's in the film world and also loves English, comedies and thrillers, dramas, he's so good. He's so good. Shaun of the Dead.
I've got to watch the end of the fucking the end of the fucking world. No, that's the TV
World's
show.
End. The World's End.
The World's End. I've never watched that. Where it's all the dudes who go the English lads who go down to the pub and it becomes like the end of the world type scenario.
That's right. Yeah. Man, and then for all you real Simon Pegg diehards, Spaced, which was his original show that I think he wrote with Edgar Wright in the late 90s, early 2000s. That's what brought them together in the beginning, and that's what launched their careers.
Oh, that's sick.
So yeah, just a little English show. But anyway, he'd gotten into some hot water over some comments he'd made in a behind-the-scenes interview on a big film, I'm assuming. And I think he was playing devil's advocate because the way he sort of mentions it on the blog post, he has his own blog post online, and I'll put it in the show notes. I'm going to read this quote, okay? This is probably explained a lot more.
I love when you come prepared.
Dude, I've come prepared.
We've come prepared.
Man.
I think there's been a quote.
Well, I read it this morning, and I was like, "This is badass."
Okay.
So this is from 2015, okay?
Yeah.
And so it's got a little bit of time on it, but I think just as relevant as ever. Okay. It's a long quote. Recent developments in popular culture were arguably predicted by the French philosopher and cultural theorist Jean Baudrillard in his book America, in which he talks about the infantilization of society. Put simply, this is the idea that as a society, we are kept in a state of arrested development by dominant forces in order to keep us pliant. We are made passionate about the things that occupied us as children as a means of drawing our attentions away from the things we really should be invested in: inequality, corruption, economic injustice, etc. It makes sense that when faced with the awfulness of the world, the harsh realities that surround us, our instinct is to seek comfort, and where else were the majority of us most comfortable than our youth. A time when we were shielded from painful truths by our recreational passions, the toys we played with, the games we played, the comics we read. There was probably more discussion on Twitter about The Force Awakens and the Batman vs. Superman trailers than there was about the Nepalese earthquake or the British general election. I think for the most part, he is right that we are one of the most complacent generations, and I'm even looking at it in the 2020 U.S. election with the Bernie vote just not getting enough youth votes out. That's his crowd. That's his clique, man, his tribe. But they're not showing up, okay? And I just think...
Yeah, what's going on?
No, this is what, Jean Baudrillard says about how we're just a complacent generation. Why? And it's not our fault necessarily, but we're just surrounded by so much content. It's the Twitters, it's the Instagram, it's the Snapchats, the TikTok, Talkin' Techie, and there's so much that is consuming us. And then you want me to do also what? You want me to go vote? No. It's I haven't got time. I've got no time. But it does keep us in a state of infantilization. Like we are big kids for longer. Now, the one thing I just wanted to say before we get off this topic, but the one thing I feel like comes short or falls short here is that there's lots of benefits that I believe as we get older and older to lean in, to tap into that child in us, because that's where the fun is. That's where the truth is. The curiosity, which we were talking about just before we started rolling. I worry that we're not curious enough as a generation. We're not asking questions that may get us to the next level, wherever that is. Because I find like the more I ask questions, and it's something, yes, I had to force myself at one point, but once I started, it was like a tap, I couldn't turn it off. The interests I have, the books I read, the things I listen to are so diverse now that I feel like it's also helped me be the thing I love most, which is telling stories, making movies. So it's that fascinating thing that I feel like the more curious we can get as a generation, but just across the board, the better I think we're going to be as a society.
So do you think we're not as curious as we should be?
Yes, very much. And I do think it's, again, I've said it, I'll preface it again, it's not our fault. There is so much that distracts, man.
No one knows how that comes to be. It's just it just happens because we're a product of our environment. So we're getting to that age where we're starting to be able to see, like we're heading into
very much, yes.
Kind of like we're going to be middle-aged soon, and we're going to be that generation. Like we're starting to look back on like what
we're pretty much
what contribution we've been to society thus far.
Yes.
But also starting to actually inherit that society.
Yes.
And dude, that reminds me. Do you remember the freaking great Brad Pitt quote in Fight Club where he's talking to Ed Norton?
Oh my God.
And he goes, "All right, I brought it up here.
Let's hear it.
This is my Brad Pitt, right?
Okay, here we go."
We're the middle children of history, man. We have no purpose. We've got no purpose or play. We're the middle of We're the middle children. We're the middle children of history, man. We no purpose or place. We have no Great War, Great Depression. The Great War is a spiritual war, man. The Great Depression is our lives. That was the worst accent ever. But listen, my mouth's half numb from this whiskey. But I love the way he says, he's like, our Great Depression's our lives, man.
Dude.
He's fucking right.
He's right, man.
Spoiler alert, Edward Norton's right. But that's a topic for another day.
Spoilers.
But that's Gen X. Right? That's Gen X. We're already 2 generations down. Well, we're 1 generation after that.
Yep.
But that still rings true to me because things move slowly. Society doesn't change as quickly as we think.
No.
These trends change so quickly and these hashtags change and we're thinking, holy shit, man. It's like we're living in 68 again. But like
yeah. Well, guys, Kane's got to get to bed. He's got an early morning.
I gotta sleep off this Bowmore.
Bowmore.
Is it Bowmore or is it Bowmore? House of Stark meets House Bowmore from the Scottish Isle.
If it isn't Ned Flaxsteed from House Bowmore.
Hold up. Ned Flax steed? Like flaxseed?
I got the flaxseed and I was like, sounds like a wellness drink, you know? Like who?
That's in my shakes.
Who
in the morning,
invented
man.
that?
That's what I put in my shakes with the pea protein.
So if you just somehow came upon us, you can look us up at Popcorn Therapy Podcast on Instagram or the www, popcorntherapythepodcast.com. All right, guys.
Therapy's out. Therapy's out. Get the fuck out of here.
All right, guys. Get the fuck out. See you next time.